You're listening to the Pittsburgh Piledriver.
What the hell is that?
Podcast.
Oh, hi there. Hey, it's Thursday, and you know what that means? That means it's time for the Pittsburgh Piledriver podcast to do some recording. It also means that since today is Thursday, whatever the date it is, Saturday, whatever the date that is SummerSlam. And I can tell you two things about SummerSlam. One, we've got some picks. Two, it's Goldberg time, baby. So if you weren't excited enough for picks, you better get excited for Goldberg, because I can't wait for him to win the stupid title, and then I can't wait for him to win Money in the Bank, cash in, and then win the other title, unify the titles, and then become the big Goldberg Goldie Goldenstein. Another thing of note, if you would, this now here today in your ear hole marks the 100th episode of the Pittsburgh Piledriver podcast. It's a momentous occasion. I have to apologize because as we record this, I'm currently at the beach. But I wanted to come on to do this stupid intro with my stupid insanity because it's the 100th show, and I don't want to miss the 100th show entirely because that would make me a little sad. I would like to thank Beef the Legend, one of the two people that had the idea to start a wrestling podcast amongst this group of friends. Beef and Poot, I believe, came up with the idea of, hey, let's start a podcast and talk about wrestling. And I'm like, hell yeah, man, let's start a podcast and talk about wrestling. So I want to thank freaking Beef for coming up with this idea that is the Pittsburgh Piledriver podcast, and that has taken us to 100 official episodes, more than 100 episodes if you count Breaking Kayfabes and collar and elbow tie-ups, Breaking Kayfabe lounges, all the bullshit, all the random-ass videos. Thank you, Beef, for taking us this far, for being with us this far into 100 episodes. I'd also like to thank Poot. Poot, you're never here, but you still contributed to the birth of this podcast. So thank you. Even though you're not here, he'll be here a little bit later. Don't worry. But now, not here now. Why is Poot never here? But thank you, Poot, for collaborating on this idea that has become the Pittsburgh Piledriver podcast. Of course, I can't leave the intro yet without thanking our very own Tiger Bomb Tom. Jumped in from day one. It wasn't even the first show. It was the prototype episode that was done in Beef's dungeon with Beef and Poot sitting around a table looking handsome. Right from day one, he jumped on it and said, hey guys, I want to be a sponsor. I have a lot more subscribers than you ever will, which is currently true. And he did the thing, and we got the thing, and he was a sponsor for the thing. Now he's on the show because it just kind of fits. And when you have a Lego block that's a 6 block, and you have another 6 block, and you put them on top of each other, and they click together, and you go, oh, what a lovely fit. You roll with it. And Tom clicked into that block, and we rolled with it. And man, with the 4 best friends that anyone could have. I'm very happy that we've made it to 100 episodes. Thank you, boys, for constantly doing this every freaking Thursday, talking wrestling, getting blood pressures up, making Beef sweat, giving the Poot sigh every Thursday when somebody inevitably interrupts him or tells him to shut up. Guilty. And you get the straight from Camp Poot. I have had some of the best Thursdays in my life recording this podcast with you boys, and I really hope that we continue on and make it to episode 200 and another 200 episodes. So, since I'm currently at the beach and I'm not going to rant and rave as the waves wash me into Davy Jones' locker, I'm going to leave the show in the capable hands of right now very own Tiger Bomb Tom and Beef the Legend. Poot might be along, or maybe he's currently right now sailing up to the front of the hotel in his dinghy with his guitar. Who the hell knows what he's doing? He could be playing at the Ocean City VFW. Maybe I'll head down the road and he'll be drinking down there with Ric Flair. Hard to say. Hey, everybody, enjoy the episode. We'll see you next week for episode 101. Woo!
That was some strong intro work
That was.
by your reigning, defending. Let me say it very clearly for the marks. Undisputed cruiserweight champion, the Mad King himself. Tom, it's just us. I don't think we've done a two-man show. And I know Poot's going to be rambling in.
Yeah.
But this is the first two-man show that I've done since the fucking debut, I think.
This is the first two-man show I think I've done, period, with any of you guys. So, to further off of Ransom's intro, I personally want to thank all three of you guys for letting me get involved. Now I know Ransom, has his little jest, stuff like that. But let me just be clear. I never said I had more followers than you guys, but
He's not wrong.
But he's not wrong. No, but no, honestly, like he said, from day one, I saw the energy and the chemistry that that yourself and Poot had, and I wanted to somehow facilitate that and reach more people because I enjoyed it, and I figured if I enjoyed it, the people that watch my streams would probably enjoy it. And there is that niche audience of wrestling fans and video game fans that kind of cross over and stuff like that. So I figured, you know what? Why not? And so yeah, I jumped on it, and you guys had me on as a guest, I believe, on episode 5 or 6. I want to say it was 6. And then I was on again as a guest the next week, and then the next week, and then by the 4th time in a row, he was just like, fuck it, he's part of the crew. So with that said, I want to thank you guys for allowing me to be a part of the crew. I like Ransom. I enjoy Thursday nights. I always look forward to it. I think I can say for all of us, I think we've all had some days where we just had a shit day, and you come in and just we managed to lift each other's spirits and rant and rave and dive into the salt that is our disappointment with some aspects of pro wrestling, in particular some people and some companies and the way they do things, but we're going to talk about that later.
Like we always do.
Like we always do.
Man.
But
well, and I mean, just to be, absolutely transparent, this is more of Poot's baby than mine.
okay.
Yes, it was definitely a two-man operation for sure, but I remember 5-6 years ago him talking about moving down here. Now he's been talking about coming down here for the better part of 10 years.
We're gonna get him down here.
Eventually,
it's gonna happen.
But he kept talking about, I'm gonna come down here. We're gonna start our web show. We're gonna talk. I've been thinking, what about the Pittsburgh Piledriver podcast? And I'm like, that's a great idea, Pooh. I'm behind it. And we initially set out with the idea of it not just being a wrestling podcast, but being a little bit of accoutrement, if you will, the buffet of the nerdy, if you will. A little bit of wrestling, well, a lot of bit of wrestling, a little bit of video game, a little bit of sports, a little bit of drinking knowledge, and kind of where everything flows. And I like that still exists in our Breaking Kayfabe episodes.
Yeah.
That idea that would kind of like the magnate started. So but yeah, I mean, big props to Poot, and I'm glad that we pulled the trigger and we said let's fucking do it. And 100 episodes, man, like, and we're not done growing, dude. Like, we're to me,
man.
We haven't even hit our first growth spurt yet. I'm excited for the fans and the followers that we do have, and I'm excited to do the next 100, the next 300. Hell, man.
Hell yeah, man.
So yeah, a lot of good stuff, and we're certainly glad to have you as part of the team. Ransom, like Ransom said, man, he said it perfectly. Like when shit fits, it just fits.
Yep.
And we have good nights, we have bad nights like anybody, but I'm telling you, like we just come together like one of them puzzle balls. You remember the puzzle balls that came in like 6 different pieces and you had to put them together?
Vaguely,
like
yes.
that's you know they were there with 25 cents at fucking Walmart or something. I don't remember. But bottom line is, you know, we're right in there. We're right in the pocket. So yeah, thank you guys for listening, and I hope you guys enjoy podcast number 100. I don't know that it's going to be groundbreaking in any way, except for our awesome picks coming up later.
Oh man!
As soon as Guitar Man shows up from the space of Guitar World.
Yeah. So it's a little sidebar. This to dive off of the beaten path like we always do. I just got a brand new gaming chair because little backstory here. So the chair that I currently have that you guys probably saw whenever you came over last. I think I had it then. If I didn't, the chair that I currently had or have, whatever, it I actually picked it up. You know, like off the sidewalk, like somebody was getting rid of it, had a free sign on it, and I was on my route working, and I had my truck, and I was taking it home that night because I was working the next day, and I figured, why the hell not? I've got space, so let's do it. Free 99. Got myself it's a X-Rocker gaming chair.
Those are good.
It's good. Now it to me.
Yeah, man.
Thank you. It wasn't super comfortable, and I don't know if it's just because I'm not a beefy person in the back door compartment. I have a bony ass. I got no ass. So, but I made it work, and I've been using it for streaming for a little while now. Well, fast forward to. I think it was like Thursday or Friday. I think it was Friday, actually. My buddy Travis sends me a Facebook marketplace posting about somebody getting rid of a decent gaming chair for like $15. And I'm like, well, that's too good to be true. But I contact the person, and I set up an arrangement for Saturday. And I go through all the correspondence, and I'm like, okay, I even messaged them that day, and I said, hey, based off of how many stops I have and stuff, how busy of a day I think I'll be over there about 4:00. I was actually even done a little early. I said, hey, would you like me to come over a little early? Didn't get a response. I'm like, uh-oh. So that was the first uh-oh. Second uh-oh was, hey, I'm leaving. I'll be there in like 15 minutes. I'll be there for our previously mentioned 4:00 rendezvous. Still no response.
Oof.
Second uh-oh.
Yeah.
So then I get there, and it's on like a one-way street on the south side. And so I'm like, this is going to be fucking fun. I pull off the road as much as I can because I'm considerate, and throw the four ways on. Then proceed to try to find this person's apartment because it's the south side, and like every apartment has like 5 fucking apartments in one building, but nothing's really labeled that well. So when I do find it, I finally, banging on the door. No answer.
Oh, no.
Now, this whole ordeal for me getting there was about a good 10-15 minutes of me being there. And then I said, fuck it. I called it. I'm like, nope, it's a wash. I'm done. I'm going home. And I'm like, I don't know, coming past the Millville exit on 28. And then I get a message. I'll be there in a second. I said, I'm already gone. I don't know what you're talking about. I was like, I'm already gone. I waited. I was like, I didn't hear anything. I'm gone. Well, I fell asleep. Okay. Now, being a person of reason, most of the time. What the fuck is this cat doing? Sorry. My girlfriend's cat just decided to... Holly. The one that people may have now seen on stream and probably will continue to in the future. She decided to hop up on my lap. Now she's, marking herself all over my new chair, just like rubbing her face on it and stuff. Yeah, as cats do. Anyways, apparently she's done now. Okay, cool. So I'm like, nah, I'm good. You can fucking list it. I was like, thanks anyways. Like, I was like, yeah, okay, well, shit happens. That's understandable. I was like, feel free to list it again. I'm good. I'll take care of it. I'll get my own another way. And I then proceeded to leave that person a 1-star review on Facebook Marketplace. So you're welcome. And I came home that night and I looked online and perused and got myself a new gaming chair. And I got it assembled tonight. And I just put the lumbar and head cushion pillow on while we were talking there. And oh my God, it is so fucking comfortable.
Right on, man.
I love it.
Yeah, I mean, that story is why I don't like to do the online stuff, because
Hey,
I feel like that happens a lot.
yeah.
Where you're like, hey, let's meet here, let's do this, done. And everyone's like, yeah, man, day of. Hey, I'm coming. Day of. Hey, I'm here. Day of. Hey, knock, knock, knock. Nothing.
Yep.
You're on your way. Your tail lights, and all of a sudden you get a text. Oh, I was sleeping. Well, that just.
Yeah, see, to me,
the milk at that point, the milk has spoiled. Throw it out, because that tells me, especially because it's a $15 gaming chair, that tells me that some shit's up.
well, it's not even only that. I mean, like, maybe the person was gonna get rid of it. Like I could have done the same thing whenever I got rid of my kids' little table, and I was getting rid of that, getting rid of my bed. The love seat didn't get any bites on it, so it's currently down in my basement, much to the dismay of my girlfriend. But it's here. Deal with it. So,
don't you hate that though? Like, I feel like I've done that exact thing where I've looked at, like, I know that my wife and I have both done this.
Yeah.
Where we look online and we're like, hey, here's a great deal for a used this or that, or this, that, or like, a Samsung J whatever, like from Walmart, and like we go and something messes up the deal, and then it's like, you know what, fuck it, let's just do the like actual thing. Let's just go get an actual like Note, or let's just go get an actual smartwatch or things like that. And you end up spending more money, but you're happier. So
yeah,
it's just like I did the same thing with earbuds. We got you see those things on Facebook every fucking, I do anyway.
Yeah.
About earbuds, or I did last year, when all the money was flowing from the fucking stimulus. And
that stimmy boom.
we got like, $15 earbuds from like China. No instructions on them whatsoever. No like mid-range tones. It was all like highs and bass. I hated them. So we ended up just going out and getting a pair of Skull Candy. Each of us did. It's just, it's just weird. But anyway, let's circle.
This has devolved into a breaking kayfabe. Yeah,
a little bit. That's okay. A little, like I said, man. That's kind of the spirit of the 100 is getting a little bit of the eclectic mix. We are in a big wrestling week this week, Tom. I don't know if you know that or not. Of course you do.
Of course I do, dude. I mean, like SummerSlam be damned, because of He Who Shall Not Be Named coming back and everything like that. But I'm still looking forward to it in a general sense. I'm looking more forward to the fucking steaks and stuff that we're gonna have, because I'm gonna do it right.
I'm sure I'm looking forward to it too, buddy.
I know.
I've found with WWE events, I have no expectations going in anymore. Whether it's SummerSlam, WrestleMania, Survivor Series, or fucking, Balls of Fury, I have no expectations about how any pay-per-view is going to go. I just show up and I try to enjoy it. I try to unplug. I try to release myself from the internet and just go, you know what? Let's see how it does. Let's take this. Let's forget all the crap that they did on Monday night. Let's forget all the crap they do on Friday nights. Let's forget all the stuff about NXT guys coming up and getting no push. Let's leave all that and just take this in a suitcase and just take the event and see if we enjoy it. And I'll tell you, I've been doing that since the pandemic started, really. That was my focus on WrestleMania 36, was to say, okay, I know this is going to be weird. I know this is going to be super, super out there, but I need to try and compartmentalize the show and say, you know what, I'm just going to enjoy it for what it is, because at that time, nothing else was out there. They just cut the XFL off a couple weeks prior.
Right.
You know, baseball wasn't happening, NBA was canceled, hockey was canceled. Literally, WrestleMania was the only game in town.
Yeah.
So since then, I've been trying to take that approach, and it's worked out. SummerSlam, I kind of put in the same, sentence as WrestleMania, in that it has its own kind of like pomp and circumstance,
Mhm.
and they're even billing this as like the biggest show of the year. So I have no doubt that it's going to be a quality show. I just, I wish things were different with
Right.
Keith Lee. I wish things were different with Karrion Kross. I wish things were different with Ricochet. There are all these external sources that I can say, I wish. At the end of the day, I'm going to enjoy it as it is. And unfortunately, now that mentality has bled over to TakeOver, where I know change is coming. As soon as next week.
Don't. No, I don't wanna.
I've been reading it. It's not going to be a rebranding. It's still going to be NXT, but a new logo, a new look. I really think they're probably going to dial it back from the hard edge that Triple H has given it, because it's been like the metal show. Ever since it started, it's been the metal show. It's been, Triple H's taste in music, the rock and leather. Like, that's the vibe it has given off. It's been the outlaw wrestling show on WWE.
Right. In terms of the quote unquote WWE universe.
Yeah, exactly. As part of the zeitgeist, WWE's the four tempo, Raw's the four tempo, SmackDown's your your Cutlass Supreme with no top, and like your those are your flagship, the Dependables. NXT's the motorcycle coming up behind it. Like, that's kind of what it's been.
I like how Raw is a Ford Tempo.
Dude, it's so busted. There's fucking like, my dad used to have these metal sheets, he probably still does, on his old truck that he would like have to hammer on because it was so rusty. He just put this like metal sheet work on there. Like, it's being held together by fucking duct tape in places. That's Raw. Duct
tape and a prayer.
Yep. I'm not stoked for that changeover in NXT, so I've said to myself, okay, Beef, NXT 36 is going to be like the divergence point. I think that this is like, going to be the flash point for our DC fans. Like, this is where everything pivots. I'm going to take NXT 36. I'm going to enjoy it. I'm going to take it as kind of like the last big hurrah.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe things continue to be awesome after this. But it's, given everything I've read, given everything that's happening on the main shows, it's just hard for me to believe.
Yeah, I mean, I know you said that we got a bunch because we're picking SummerSlam
15.
itself. Yeah,
Yep.
SummerSlam itself and NXT TakeOver. So Saturday and Sunday both.
Yep.
Okay, so now
And then on top of all that,
oh no,
Rampage tomorrow, which isn't the biggest card. And we could talk about that too.
Oh wait, is that part of picks or?
No.
Oh, okay,
We're
okay.
not pick a Rampage.
Okay,
but
gotcha.
it's a big show because it's from the United Center, which is probably about 20,000 or so plus crowd.
Right. Oh, I was gonna say, being that we're waiting on Poot to do picks, I guess let's just let's talk about it. The fact there's a lot of speculation.
The Ella Punk in the room.
Yeah, the yellow punk in the room. I mean, Rampage is going to be. We'll have to go back to it, being that you went to the first ever Rampage last week. I want to get some of your takes on that. But now I haven't watched any of the weeklies. I've kind of fallen into ransom mode. I don't have cable. I haven't had time to watch anything because every day after work it's been like some sort of small project or something that I have to do. Like the other night was like yesterday it was I got to return my equipment to Verizon so I don't get billed for having it because we don't have Verizon here, damn it. But yeah, I mean I got Comcast or whatever, Xfinity, it's either that or I don't know whatever the fuck the other ones were, but it was anyways, that's neither here nor there. But point being, I have to run that stuff, and then I want to do this, couple nights ago, I stayed up till like 1:30 in the morning just getting shit put on my computer desk because I didn't want to have my mind cluttered with a whole bunch of stuff. So now I feel like I can finally breathe again. So now I might have to start catching back up on NXT, like on the Peacock replays. Whenever when do the replays happen for NXT on Peacock?
I don't think that we've come to a consensus on that. Maybe a wonderful viewer listener will be able to point that out. I know that Raw and SmackDown are like delayed by I think a month. I think NXT is a week, but I could swear that I've seen it on Hulu. I think the day and a half after, whatever. But that's like a truncated version.
Yeah,
it's not the full 2-hour thing.
See, and that fucking blows my mind. I'm gonna rant a little bit about fucking Hulu because I dealt with that before. I had that before I decided to dive all in and get cable again because AEW and because we were doing this podcast and I wanted to have something to contribute to it and not just be like, well, I didn't watch the shows, tell me about them, beef. So but now here I am now, right back to where I started. So yeah, Hulu, fuck that. I mean, yes, they're up there like the very next day, but like Raw, that's a 3-hour show, you get an hour and a half, and they usually cut out like some of the best stuff and leave in all the crap. SmackDown, I think they show almost the full thing, but I'm sure there's some stuff that they cut. So I don't understand why they would cut stuff from NXT as well too, like being that it's only 2 hours. Like it's ridiculous. But
yeah, and I mean that's no doubt corporate. But WWE is sending them like the Hulu reel, as it were.
But in any case, jumping back to AEW again. So a lot of speculation going on that CM Punk is going to show up here on Rampage as of this recording tomorrow night, because it is coming, from Chicago. What do you think? I know this is going to be a biased opinion because you are admittedly a Punk mark, which I mean, I can't blame you for. He's awesome. He is one of the best in the world. But as per our conversation in the group chat earlier today, I think there's really only one GOAT currently, and we know who that is. We'll talk about that too. But what do you think the chances are of Punk showing up tomorrow night?
It's a done deal, 100%. So here, if I would have realized this weeks ago, I would have put this together and been 100% certain. But again, I'll reiterate, Rampage tomorrow, the first dance, which is actually the second episode of Rampage, go figure. AEW must be using that Windows math. Rampage, the first dance, emanates from the United Center in Chicago, which is the hockey barn, which houses about 20K fans.
Right.
The All Out, the Dynamite's prior and after All Out, and I think the Rampage prior and after All Out, emanate from the Now Arena, which is the Sears Center, which is a historical venue only holding about 12K fans. So we're talking a bigger audience for a random jag-off episode of Rampage. It's not the first episode of Rampage. They call it the first dance. Not only that, but so first of all, you're getting 8,000 more fans in there tomorrow night. Tomorrow night. Not only that, but the card is a little weaker. Now, here's the thing. Last week on Rampage, the crowd was absolutely nuclear. Probably the hottest crowd I've ever been a part of. And I don't just mean in terms of temperature. I mean, we were rocking start to finish the entire show. And it's a 1-hour show, but they taped 2 hours of dark prior to it.
Right.
So we were like, quote unquote pre-gaming prior to.
Right.
Last week's episode had a 5-star match in Omega versus Christian, a squash match with Miro, and then a hometown pop with Britt Baker, followed by an okay match. Yeah. I personally think they should have flopped. They flip-flopped, rather. That Christian and Omega should have main evented Rampage. It was the better match. I understand Britt Baker getting the rub in her hometown, but the match itself was only okay. So
Yeah, I mean,
tomorrow night. Yeah, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
no, I was gonna say, and I know we've talked about it before, and it bears repeating because for as much as we bitch about WWE and what Vince does and the lack of direction and clear, concise, long-term booking or anything like that, any other number of things that we come up with, that it doesn't surprise me, unfortunately, that the match was just okay. Because the women's division in AEW is unfortunately like their one of their weak points. But
well, the other problem is it was a foregone conclusion.
Yeah, well, it was who did Britt Baker face again?
Red Velvet.
Okay, yeah. I'm sorry. I know we've seen WWE quote unquote swerve the audience by having the hometown wrestler lose in their own hometown.
That's all WWE does.
Well,
every fucking event.
Well, I was gonna say I wasn't sure if there were times where they did have the hometown wrestler go over. I know one of the last times that I can remember distinctly was with Sasha and Charlotte, where Sasha lost. Yep. When they were. It's
not very often that a hometown person goes over in WWE.
Yeah, exactly. So I mean, it's obviously it's not surprising that Britt won. I mean, but
that took a little bit of drama and heat out of the match,
right?
No,
for sure. I mean, because with Christian and Omega, I think. I speak for myself whenever along with a lot of people, were shocked whenever Christian won, because it was just one of those things it's something that we had debated previously, which was going to be the first title that Kenny lost. And, we were kind of split on it, I think, in the fact that I think I was in the camp of thinking the AAA title was going to be the first one that he lost. I think you at one point had said that the AEW title was going to be the first one that he lost. I don't think anybody really picked the Impact / TNA championships to be the first one that he lost.
And AEW did it very, very, very intelligently. They did that title show, that title change on their programming.
Yeah.
So in a way, it almost makes the Impact, because they've had Impact Tag Team Championship matches. I think they had one last week on Dynamite too.
Yeah, I think so.
Correctly.
I think I remember hearing about it.
So they basically made the Impact titles more or less kind of mid-card titles for AEW, which and I mean Impact is still getting a rub because they're still getting the national audience that's seeing a title change.
Right.
But I mean AEW got to showcase that on their program. They got to see that title change. So I mean that to me was the smartest thing that they could have done.
And not only that, but whatever working relationship that they have going on, now that means that if they have somebody, say a Christian who could be upper mid card / sub main event sort of thing, somebody who we don't necessarily want to see in the title hunt, but they themselves have enough prestige and have enough clout or whatever it may be, that he's a seasoned veteran, but he can still go. So I mean, he's good. He's good for other guys to work with and stuff like that. In general sense, he's good. He's good to have him work with the young guys, regardless if he goes over or they go over. They're still getting some sort of rub,
right?
But now we don't necessarily have to worry about the roster being too overbloated, because we can kind of pull Christian aside, and he doesn't have to be on TV every single week.
Or he could just show up on Impact.
He can just show up on, he can show up on Impact and stuff like that. So,
which is a win for them,
Yeah. So I mean, and not only that, this is another thing that AEW I feel is doing right, in the fact that having guys who aren't necessarily in the main event yet, but guys who I feel are definitely going to be, and who are the future of the company, like your Wardlows. stuff like that. Letting guys go back at like giving them the chance to do like indie dates and stuff like that. Like the fact that, you know, Wardlow is able to come back and, you know, show up at IWC and stuff like that.
Yep.
Like, I feel that's a smart thing. And I know the one main argument that people could probably have would be like, oh, well, you know, if they get injured, you know, performing somewhere else, well, that kind of fucks over AEW then. Well, you know, injuries happen regardless. If it's going to happen, it's going to happen. I mean, fuck. Bayley, you know, look at Bayley. She got hurt while she was training.
Yep.
It wasn't
on a long enough timeline. Everyone's survival rate drops to 0. It's just one of those things.
Oh my God, that's Fight Club, is it not?
Sure is.
That is Fight Club.
Sure
God damn, I need to watch that movie now.
Rule number 1 is that we don't talk about Fight Club.
Well, yeah. And rule number 2 is that we don't talk about it.
You're damn right.
You know,
So
I used to know all 8 rules off by heart because I watched that movie for like a week straight whenever I got my wisdom teeth out in high school. And I was sitting there just eating chocolate pudding, popping Vicodin, watching Fight Club. It was great. It was great.
Yeah, man. So, Rampage tomorrow. And I wanted to highlight last week's Rampage because I feel that we got one great match, one match that was okay, and a squash match. Tomorrow night, we don't have a Kenny Omega on the card. We don't have a Christian. We don't have the Young Bucks. We have the main event's going to be Jon Moxley and Eddie Kingston versus 2.0, a.k.a. formerly known as Top Gear. Everrise in NXT.
Oh, God.
So I'll get to that in a minute. But we also have Jade Cargill facing off against, oh God, I don't remember. It's so inconsequential. I don't even remember her opponent. And then we have, oh fuck, I'm blanking on the damn matches. But that's how minuscule. Basically, they're rolling out. They had a great match last week. The Jurassic Express versus Private Party, which will probably actually be match of the night, and a tag team eliminator match. And Cargill is facing Kiera Hogan, by the way, a new signee from Impact. So I'm excited to see her. She was on Dark Elevation last week, so I got to see her official debut in AEW.
Okay.
But bottom line is, it doesn't have the same kind of clout that, the Miro with the television title does, or Kenny Omega versus Christian for the Impact title. It doesn't have that same sort of like, wow, what a big show it's going to be. And you know what? We're going to have weeks like that.
Right.
Because we got a wonderful tag team title match on Wednesday night with Dynamite. We got a pay-per-view blow-off quality match with Jericho and MJF. Whether that's the blow-off, who knows? But we got a pay-per-view quality match in that match. So, yeah, you know what? Maybe Rampage match-wise isn't going to be the best. But, and that's leading back to the point of CM Punk. If you know that you're going to be having filet mignon,
right,
you don't fill up on biscuits.
No.
AEW is saying, why do we need to throw out the absolute best card in the world for this? Everybody knows CM Punk's coming.
Right.
And I think that last week's Rampage, I think, was around 700,000 viewers. Warner Media loved it. I think this week is going to top that. I think this week's going to be a bigger number than Dynamite did, if we're being honest. And I think that we'll see that the smarts, big quotation marks, the smart fans,
right,
aka the internet-friendly fans, are going to show that, that they are the majority of the fan base because, or at least the majority of the view base, because they're going to tune in to see CM Punk because they know that CM Punk is coming. So yeah, honestly, it's a foregone conclusion. I'm more excited about where it's going to lead. Last night on Dynamite, before, I don't think Moxley had a match. He just kind of was ranting in a hallway, as Moxley tends to do.
Yeah, as is his want and desire.
Talking about people showing up in AEW that maybe don't deserve to be there. Talking about how he could kick Christian's ass, even though he just showed up. Talking about people, basically people coming to AEW that were popular elsewhere and basically demanding a spot.
Right.
And 100%, and he tried to aim that at 2.0 and Daniel Garcia coming in from other organizations, which is fair, but I think it was a very thinly veiled, like, hey, CM Punk, up yours.
Yeah.
So I think after the main event tomorrow, if I was booking Rampage tomorrow, I would waste no time.
Right.
I would let that cat out of the bag in the opening segment. I'd bring out CM Punk because otherwise you're going to have to deal with a full 60 minutes of CM Punk chants. If the crowd gets bored, CM Punk, CM Punk. And again, this is not going to be the most entertaining Rampage. Again, I think it's going to be serviceable. I think we're going to get a squash match. I think you're going to get a very good match in Private Party versus Jurassic Express. And I think we're going to get an okay match with Moxley and Kingston versus 2.0.
Okay.
But, the fact that there may be lulls tells me that we could get a lot of CM Punk chance if they don't open up with it.
Right.
So I think that they're probably going to aim it at the main event. Moxley and Kingston are going to win because it's Ever-Rise. I love Ever-Rise. I love 2.0. I love the rub that they're getting because they got to be in the match with Sting. Sting's first televised match on TNT in 20 years. They got to be a part of that.
Yeah.
So it's very clear that AEW had the direction for 2.0. And again, they're going to get to rub shoulders with Moxley and Kingston tomorrow night, and by proxy, I think that they're going to get to be part of that Punk debut.
Yeah.
I think Punk comes out and has a face-off with Moxley, and I think that they set that match up for All Out.
Interesting. Yeah, I mean, I know you mentioned about Ever-Rise before. Like, I mean, I wasn't ever super huge on them whenever they were in NXT or anything like that. Like, I don't know, they didn't do it. Yeah, they didn't really do anything for me. But I mean, hey, if that's just because they had the creative shackles on them and they're able to flourish in AEW, hey, all the more power to them.
And they're talented. AEW is doing a great job with their tag team division. If anything, they have too many tag teams.
Yeah.
But that's a good problem to have.
Oh yeah, for sure.
So also on again, huge week in wrestling this week already. We saw Dynamite last night, which had the Jurassic Express versus Young Bucks in a great tag team title match. And then the main event was MJF versus Jericho, fifth flavor of Jericho, where Jericho got to face MJF finally, but he could not use his entrance thong, could not use the Judas Effect finisher.
Right.
Where Houston, the crowd there, ended up singing an a cappella version of Judas. Now, I'm sure that it was prompted. I'm sure that they, that they made a big deal of like, hey, we want this to be awesome. I think it would have happened organically anyway, honestly. But bottom line is, it was one of those moments in wrestling where you have a goosebumps moment, an honest-to-God moment that gives you goosebumps.
Oh, yeah, I for sure did. I mean, I
can think of a few of them, a handful. Like when Hulk Hogan turned on WCW, like whenever Sting came back in WWE.
Yeah.
When Daniel Bryan won at WrestleMania 30, when Taker lost at WrestleMania 30, all of these things are goosebump moments that elicit a base reaction from you. And I think that moment happened with Jericho and Judas last night. But Jericho went on to lose the match clean after hitting MJF. MJF tried to hit him with the diamond ring.
Okay.
And I believe Aubrey Edwards was the referee, and she took the ring off of him. Jericho grabbed Floyd, hit him the bat, hit MJF in the gut with Floyd the bat, and went to hit Judas Effect. Now, Aubrey Edwards' back was turned.
Right.
But Jericho stopped mid-Judas Effect, even knowing the referee's back was turned, being a man of a principle, a man of, a man of his word.
Right.
Which then gave MJF a chance to hit the Judas Effect on Jericho and finish him up with the Salt of the Earth.
Nice.
So Jericho tapped in one of the first times I can remember. I'm sure he probably did it at least once in feuds with Angle or John Cena.
Mm-hmm.
But it's not very often that Chris Jericho taps out.
No, definitely not.
Now, we've had this pay-per-view quality blow-off match with MJF and Jericho. I thought they were going to save it for All Out, and they may still do something at All Out. But now the question is, where does MJF go? Where does Jericho go? What do you think, Tom?
Well, I mean, so So Jericho loses the match. I mean, I gotta think that they're setting up for something at All Out. I don't know. I like maybe they're gonna set up for like a Jericho retirement match. You know, like a loser leaves AEW sort of thing. I don't know. I mean, it's hard to say because you have so much that you could do with MJF regardless. I mean, he could be a perfect foil to anybody. He's such a good heel. So I don't know. I really don't know. Like I would have thought that we were going to get Jericho and MJF at All Out. I didn't realize until you had mentioned about the fact that that it happened on Dynamite last night, that it was happening on Dynamite. I again hadn't been watching the weeklies or anything. So I'm at a loss to where it goes from here.
So here, I'm confused because I thought the point of the Labors of Jericho, where he had to go through all of these things, was to get a match with MJF. I thought he had to go through 5 of them and then would be granted the match, not knowing that the 5th match would in fact be that. And that may be something that they're punching up on the fly.
Right.
Now, they do have 3 weeks before All Out. Looking at my calendar here, we have 1, 2, 3 Rampages left and 1, 2 Dynamites left before All Out.
Right.
Plenty of time to set up a lot of stuff. But I really believe that something's got to happen here. Or if not Jericho versus MJF, the Pinnacle versus the Inner Circle, something's got to happen because I just feel that, yes, like the right guy won on Wednesday night, without a doubt. MJF / the Pinnacle need to be the ones with their hand raised at the end of this whole shebang. That's the rub. That's the idea. That's why you get MJF involved with Jericho in the beginning, is to have him looking good. But you also can't fight the fact that Jericho is one of your most over talents. The fact that he gave you quite possibly your first goosebump moment in AEW. I'm sure I'm going to have another one tomorrow night.
Right.
But, Jericho beat him to it. The fact that he gave you your first goosebump moment in AEW should not be swept under the rug. So I don't know, man. Like I think that they had one thing in mind, and then they went a different way because of the pay-per-view. All Out is in a very tenuous situation right now. And speaking of tenuous, that's our buddy Pit the Bard.
How goes it, Poot?
Hi. The life of a rock star banker is incredibly tenuous and tremulous and tremulant and full of difficulties. So I am having my incredibly late dinner, and
Wow.
I have missed, from what I understand, quite a bit of discussion. But I have a very quick question from something that was said in our chat.
Yes.
There, Beef. What is the? I skimmed through today. I found enough time to skim through Dynamite from this week, which was
a fucking great show.
No, it was. And like I said, I got through it. I watched enough of each match to be thoroughly impressed. But what is the thing that was confirmed to you that Punk is going to debut? What was the thing that happened?
Yeah, so we did talk about it a little bit. I basically said the fact that they're going to the United Center for Rampage tomorrow night, which is going to be a bigger arena than what they're holding All Out in, tells me that they're prepping for that. But I think I made that remark in the chat because Sammy Guevara, Sean Spears had an incredible match. Sammy Guevara hit the GTH.
Oh, dude, that is so good.
But 100% he hit it because as kind of like a nod to CM Punk, you know, and the crowd even started chanting CM Punk afterwards. So like they know what they're doing. I just worry that they are betting too much on the smart fan. I personally would have put at least one title match on the card, be it a Miro match, be it a tag. You know, they probably should have saved the Young Bucks and the Jurassic Express for Friday night. I would have been okay with that, but it is what it is. But I think that they're betting heavily on fans being like, "Oh, CM Punk's coming back." It's happening 100%. So, like I said to Tom earlier, we'll see. We'll see if the smart fan base is leading. Because honestly, if I didn't know CM Punk wasn't coming tomorrow for sure, I'd be watching it regardless. But I mean, the card doesn't really give me anything to salivate over and go, "Oh man, I can't wait to see X, Y, or Z." Right.
And I mean, there's enough of a rumbling that the smart fan, I think, is kind of zoned in on the fact that Punk could debut. And I think enough of the casual smart fan, a casual fan leaning towards the smart side would get it as well. I do. I mean, there's been so much buzz around it. Because even if Punk doesn't debut, they might debut Bryan Danielson.
I think either one will work, but I mean, I think, and I hate to keep going back to it, but man, there's no reason you book a 20,000 seat arena when you have the pay-per-view coming up in the same city that's booking a 12,000 seat arena, unless you have something real big planned. And the card is not real big. So
yeah.
I'm not saying that Bryan Danielson won't be real big.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that Bray Wyatt, Wyndham Rotunda wouldn't be real big. I'm not saying that Ruby Riott, Ruby Soho will not be real big. I'm saying that Punk returning would absolutely go nuclear.
Oh, it would light the wrestling world on fire.
If you guys, by the way, while we're discussing Punk, Roman Reigns dropped a little bit of fucking ear candy today in the interview. Roman being the ultimate fucking troll, this character of Roman Reigns. He said, and I don't have the official fucking edict here, but he said that he doesn't have the it factor that John Cena has, and he didn't move the needle like The Rock.
Wow.
So the fact that Roman Reigns went out and put that soundbite out here on Thursday the 19th tells me that WWE is aware, they are keeping tabs, and they want to go out there and try to piss on this fire before it even gets started.
Oh yeah.
Vince McMahon can say all he wants. I don't see AEW as competition as WCW was in the 90s. He's full of shit. Because Roman Reigns 100% had somebody in his ear saying, go out there and talk about how Cena and The Rock are better than CM Punk.
Yep. Absolutely 100% on that one. I don't doubt it for a second.
So, you guys mind if we pivot to picks and then pick back up because we got to get those out of the way.
Pivot.
Pivot.
Why does everyone love that show so much? I don't get it. Anyway,
I don't necessarily love the show, but I just love that quote.
That's fair. Okay, that's
I feel that
to me,
it has the same effect as Seinfeld. Now, I like Seinfeld. I'm not crazy in love with Seinfeld, but a lot of people are. A lot of people love Seinfeld. A lot of people. So some people just absolutely adore it. I love Friends. I think it's a great show, but I understand if you don't. At the end of the day, I think that every sitcom in the last 20 years has been full of terrible, terrible fucking people, redeemed by a few good people on the show. going back to even The Big Bang Theory, which my wife and I watch pretty much whenever it's on, like reruns and everything, just for like, you know, background.
For the
Like,
lulz.
it's full of terrible people redeemed by like 2. And I think that's true of and I don't know why sitcoms do that. Maybe it's because it's funny. I don't know. Speaking of funny, SummerSlam is going to be hilarious. Let's start with SummerSlam, boys. We have 10 whole matches. I'm going to highlight them for you here. We have Lashley defending the WWE Championship against Goldberg. Roman Reigns defending the Universal title against John Cena. Edge versus Seth Rollins. AJ and Omos defending against the RK Bro for the Raw Tag Team titles. The Usos. Yes.
Okay. So I thought RK Bro broke up because I thought Randy RKO'd fucking Riddle.
You thought they RK broke up?
Yeah.
No, I don't know. I was in and out of Raw on Monday night, but I could have swore they came together at the end. I'm pretty sure they did.
I thought it was like a week or 2 ago or something and like they broke that up because I thought we were bitching about the fact that they broke up that team, having Randy be Randy and just be like, I don't want to play nice with everybody.
Well, that was the gimmick with it, and then like all of a sudden, like, you know, AJ proved that he was too much for or Omos or whatever. I don't remember exactly the scenario, but basically, Randy Orton had the the dawning that, you know, he needed a partner and that Riddle's a good partner, blah, blah, blah. So, yes, AJ and Omos are defending against RK Bro. The Usos defending against the Mysterios for the SmackDown Tag Team Championships.
For like the 5th time in the last month or whatever, I guess.
Okay. Because you got to give Rey Mysterio a SummerSlam match. We have Drew McIntyre versus Jinder Mahal with Veer and Shanky barred from ringside, which, by the way, I just realized here, like a couple weeks ago, that it's not Indusher in Jinder Mahal's corner. It's one half of Indusher. I don't know what happened to the other one, but
you know,
Shanky, I think, is one that was not Indusher.
Who? God bless you, Gesundheit. Who?
They were the guy that Malcolm. They were the tag team that Malcolm Bivens brought in on NXT. They were the guys that leaked the Keith Lee title win at Great American Bash, and then were kind of not heard of again until, well, the Jinder Mahal push. But they're barred from ringside. Yes.
I'll get into that with my picks anyways. Go on.
Bianca Belair defending against Sasha Banks. Nikki ASH defending against Charlotte and Rhea Ripley for the Raw Women's title. Alexa Bliss versus Eva Marie, and Sheamus defending the U.S. title against Damian Priest. Those are your matches. You have 10 points to pick from. We can't start with the champ, so I don't know what to do. I'll start. We're going to start, and I've laid this out in a way that I think is going to go from like certain to like less certain, so that we get some action on the back end. Lashley versus Goldberg is the first match we're going to pick. I'll start, and I'm going to pick Lashley with 10 points.
Wow.
Who do you got?
Man. You kind of blew my spot, Beef.
What'd I do?
You know, this is actually harder for me than Beef peeking his eyebrows and strutting his jelly neck around.
Oh my god.
No, it's the jelly neck thing's not a dig at that. It's a long running joke.
Okay.
I'm gonna go with Lashley for. I'm gonna go Lashley with 5.
Oh, Tom, who you got?
Because I have no faith in WWE whatsoever to do the right thing, I'm gonna go with Lashley, but I'm only gonna put 1 point on it.
Wow, I for fucking sure thought that this would be certain across the board. That's interesting. I, by the way, am done trying to like counter people and like counter pick people, because the last 2 months I've tried to counter pick, and every time I've tried to counter pick, I've ended up working my way out of winning every single fucking time.
You get into a hole. You get into a hole.
Because I think to myself, oh well, if so and so, I never take into account what happens if the matches that we all get that we all pick the same way. I never take into account to me the given matches, like what happens if they go off the rails. So I'm just gonna pick. I'm doing me now.
Yep.
Moving right along.
Do you, boo boo?
I also have a giant spider in my living room. I think it might be a mutated strain. I don't know, but it's making me very nervous.
It's probably a wolf. It's probably a wolf spider. You're fine. They're harmless.
If you hear me shriek and then a crackle of fire, you know why. Moving right along, we have Roman Reigns defending the Universal title against John Cena. Poot, who you got?
I'm going to go with Roman Reigns. I think Cena's going to do the right thing. I'm going to go with Reigns for 8.
Tom?
Reigns for 5.
I am picking Roman Reigns as well, and I'm putting 9 points on it. I'm telling you, I thought that these two picks were like solid. That I thought that this would be everybody's 10 and 9 point pick. So you guys are blowing my mind a little bit right now. Edge, the returning Edge, versus Seth Rollins. Just a standard match as far as I know. Tom, who you got?
I'm gonna go with Edge, and I'm gonna put
What was that?
I'm thinking. Hang on.
Oh, okay. I thought you cut out.
No. I'm thinking.
No.
Edge for 7. Why not?
I also am picking Edge, and I'm putting 8 points on it because Rollins can eat all the pins and be fine. Poot.
I am also going to go with Edge, but this is going to be my tenor.
Not a bad call. Moving right along. RK Bro challenging AJ and Omos for the Raw Tag Team Championships. I am up, and I am, in fact, picking RK Bro. I am putting 4 points on it for the title change. Who you got?
I'm going to go with RK Bro as well, and I'm going to have this be my 7.
Tom?
I'm going to pick RK Bro, and I'm going to have this be my 6.
Usos defending against the Mysterios. I don't think there's anything fancy on this one. It's just, tag team. I was going to give the betting lines and everything, but I forgot. So I'm not going to start now. Poot, who you got?
I'm going to give this to the Usos for... we'll make this my 6.
Tom?
Usos, but this is going to be my 10.
Wow. I'm also picking Usos, but I'm only half as confident. And thus, I'm going with 5 points. Drew McIntyre versus Jinder Mahal, where, again, Veer and Shanky are banned from ringside.
Veneer. I love it. That should be their new names, Veneer.
No, it's Tom. Tom, who you got?
Didn't I just pick first last time?
Did you? Let me see.
I believe I did.
Me, Poot, Tom, me, Poot. Nope, this would be your pick.
I could have swore to God I just picked. Okay, anyways. I'm going to go with Drew. And I'm going to put... I don't know what I have left. Do I have a 6 or no? Did I already use that?
You've already used your 6. You have 2, 3, 4, 8, and 9.
I'm gonna put 8 on it.
I am also picking Drew McIntyre for 6 points. Boot.
I'm gonna go Drew McIntyre. What do I have left, Beef?
You have 1, 2, 3, 4, and 9.
I'm gonna go Drew McIntyre for 3.
Bianca Belair defending against Sasha Banks in their matchup from a rematch from WrestleMania. I am picking Bianca Belair to defend with 7 points. Poot?
I'm gonna go with Bianca as well. I feel like she needs to hold that belt longer. She's great. I'm gonna give this my. What do I have? I have 1, 2, 3.
No, you just use your 3.
Normally I can
1, 2, 4, 9.
1, 2, 4, and 9. I'm gonna give this my 4. I'm sorry. I normally keep track as well, but I was like, nah, this is too much. I'll just let Beef do it. He's the statistician.
All good. That's what I'm here for. Tom, who you got in this one?
Bianca, and I'm gonna put. What do I have? Do I have a 3 left?
You do.
I'll put 3 on it.
Nikki ASH versus Charlotte versus Rhea Ripley. Poot. Raw Women's title, by the way.
Raw Women's title. You know what? Just for the lols, I'm gonna go with Nikki ASH for 1.
Tom?
Rhea Ripley. Do I have a 1?
You do? No, you do not. You have a 2, a 4, and a 9.
Rhea for 2.
I am picking Rhea Ripley as well for 1 point. Alexa Bliss versus Eva Marie with Dewdrop. Tom?
Alexa. And this one is going to be my... I know you just said it. I'm sorry. I'm also trying to
You're fine.
work my green screen.
4 and 9.
Alexa for 9.
I am picking Alexa as well, but I'm putting 2 points because it's Eva Marie. You never fucking know. Poot.
Alexa for 9.
All right. And that brings us...
That brings us what?
All right. That brings us to Sheamus versus Damian Priest for the United States title. And I believe it's my pick. So I am picking Damian Priest. I'm putting 3 points on her. Poot?
Priest for my 2, I think, is what I have left, right?
You do, in fact?
Yep.
Tom, your 4-pointer?
Priest.
Interesting. So we're pretty solid across the board, with the exception of the women's title.
Yep. So we're all gonna get fucked. We're gonna get 0 points.
Something
It's gonna be Charlotte. You watch. Moving right along to TakeOver 36, a much more truncated card, but I think a better card altogether. Main evented by, well, perceivably main evented by Karrion Kross versus Samoa Joe, but you never know. For the NXT title, Raquel Gonzalez versus Dakota Kai for the women's title. Adam Cole versus Kyle O'Reilly in a 2 out of 3 falls match, where the first match, I think the first fall is the street fight, second fall is regular match, and the third fall, if needed, will
Cage
be
match.
the cage match.
Fuck
yes,
yeah.
LA Knight versus Cameron Grimes. LA Knight defending the $1 million title. And if Grimes loses, then Ted DiBiase has to be LA Knight's butler. I'll get it right eventually. And Walter defending the UK title against Ilya Dragunov. Those are your matches, gentlemen. So, let's start with Poot, since I started the last one.
Yay.
Poot, we'll start with Karrion Kross versus Samoa Joe.
Oh man.
5 points to assign, by the way.
Yeah. I think man. Now, can I ask a question before I do this?
Mm-hmm.
Is there rumblings of Kross being brought up?
I mean, technically, hasn't he already been?
He was shown, but it was. I think that was more.
No, man. He's been on Raw solid for the last month. He came out and he lost to Jeff Hardy in his debut match. Then he beat Keith Lee. I think he then lost to Keith Lee, and then he beat Jeff Hardy this week in like 90 seconds. So Karrion Kross has been a force on Raw. Well,
He's been something.
A force of adequacy on Raw, getting no pop, no circumstance, no Scarlet, and they can't understand why these guys fail.
Man, this is hard. Oh God. I really that no title on the line or anything. It's just a match.
No, it's for the NXT Championship.
Oh,
Sorry.
oh my God, Karrion Kross for 4.
Okay, Tom.
Karrion Kross, but man, I don't know what they're gonna do with this new direction in NXT, so I'm gonna put 1 on it.
I think y'all are crazy. I think Karrion Kross is done in NXT. The fact that he's been involved in Raw for 4 weeks solid, and the fact that he has been losing on Raw tells me that NXT knows that they need to get the value out of him while they can. So this is 100% his swan song. I don't think he'll make another appearance in NXT. I think Samoa Joe wins. This is my 5-pointer.
Here's the thing. That's a Beef set this up so that he would go last on that one.
No, I did not. I just figured I'd give somebody else a chance to start.
You hear the grin?
I mean, we've talked about Kross losing on this show. We talked about had a fucking big long rant segment about Kross coming out on Raw with no Scarlet, with no pomp and circumstance, and losing to Jeff Hardy in 2 minutes flat. I know we did.
Yeah, we definitely did.
Well, yeah, and they are kind of changing the course. I'm changing it, Joe, to 4.
I don't know if I can do that.
We haven't moved on from this match.
Well, to
be fair, this is
we've done this before.
This is precedence because we have never had changes since we've done numbers.
Last month I tried to change a pick, and everyone was like, "Oh, no picks." Everybody's already picked that match.
We did it after the fact, though. It wasn't after we moved on.
No, it was like after everybody was talking, I was like, "Oh, well, maybe I'll change my pick," and everyone's like, "Nope, you can't do that. You're locked in now."
This is just beef getting one up. Okay.
Listen, I'm fine with it.
I'll stand my ground. You're good. I'll stand my ground. I'm not going to be a whiny little baby about it.
Raquel Gonzalez defends the NXT Women's title against Dakota Kai. Tom, you will lead us off here.
Raquel retains. That's my 5er.
See, I wish I had that kind of confidence, and I'm also picking Raquel, but I'm going to put 1 point on it because I don't know. Like everything is this is like a game of Topple right now. We don't know what they're thinking. For all we know,
NXT is in flux. NXT is really in flux.
For all we know, Vince and Johnny Ace could book this entire card on Sunday night.
God help us if they do.
Triple H could be out for booking. Who fucking knows? So that's what I'm saying. Like I think Raquel should win. It should be a no-brainer, like you're saying, but I don't fucking trust where everything is. So I'm putting 1 point on it. Poot, what do you say?
I was going to put this as my 2 for Raquel.
The lovely Raquel. Moving along. Adam Cole, baby, versus Kyle O'Reilly. In what may be Adam Cole's WWE NXT swan song. Rumors running rampant, just to be transparent, that Cole is a free agent officially, that he's actually worked a little bit of an extension to get this match in. There was a report that Vince made a major play for him, that they were pitching storylines for him, and then there was also talk that maybe that was overblown. Adam Cole has said on his Twitch channel that it is not going anywhere regardless of what happens on Sunday. So we know WWE's policy with third parties. So either Adam Cole renegotiated something awesome into his contract, or he's not going to be with WWE any longer. So, Cole O'Reilly 3, 2 out of 3 falls. I will lead us off here. I am picking Kyle O'Reilly for 3 points because I do in fact believe that this is Adam Cole's swan song. And a part of me really hopes that this is his WWE swan song, that we'll never see him in a WWE ring, that he showed up at All Out. That's fantasy booking, Beef the Legend, in my DMs. Who are you picking?
Oh, Kyle O'Reilly for 5. This is my 5. Kyle O'Reilly for 5. Cole won the last one of these. He's not.
Yes.
Yeah,
yes.
he won the last one of these. Yeah, he's not going to win this one.
I hate having black curtains because now the spider was somewhere in the curtains, and
Don't think about it. You'll be fine.
that's actually all I can think about.
Dun, dun, dun.
No, again, if it's a big spider, it's a wolf spider, and they're
Yeah,
absolutely harmless. They are wildly
not-
harmless. That's
not
coming
super
from someone
concerned.
who is wildly arachnid. That is coming from someone who at one point was wearing a Venom t-shirt, and someone said, "You got a spider on your back," and I panicked.
Fantastic.
That's great.
So
Tom, who are you picking for this match, Cole versus O'Reilly?
O'Reilly, what's my highest point total I have left?
4, sir.
Then I'll put my 4 on it. That's what he said.
LA Knight defending the $1 Million Championship against Cameron Grimes. Again, if Cameron Grimes loses, Ted DiBiase has to be LA Knight's butler.
Now, does that mean that Cameron Grimes stops being LA Knight's butler as well?
I don't know. That's a good-looking question, isn't it?
And I'm also wildly disappointed that I have not seen any of the NXTs with Butler Grimes. But
They've been entertaining, for sure. Like now, I have been very hands off with NXT the last month.
yeah,
Pretty much Karrion Kross showing up on the main roster and losing more or less killed my excitement for NXT.
I don't blame you. That would be a big buzzkill for me too.
But well, from what I've caught, they've all been outstanding. Where Cameron Grimes is pretty much embracing being the butler, and LA Knight's like, "No, you idiot! You're not supposed to be enjoying this. Stop enjoying this." It's been good. So Poot gets to lead us off here. Who you got?
what do I have? 1, 3, 1 and 3.
1 and 3.
I have 1 and 3. I'm gonna go 3. Cameron Grimes.
Tom.
I am also putting 3 on Grimes to win.
Cameron Grimes, clean sweep. No,
That was actually really good. That was really good.
It's time. I still think he should have been like the inaugural, well, not inaugural, but the returning inaugural $1 Million Champion. I think that this is just righting that wrong. It's been cool because Ted DiBiase's shown up and been like, "Hey man, you don't have to like put up with this crap." And Cameron's like, "No, I'm a man of my word." And Ted's like, "Hey, there's being a man of your word, and then there's being a patsy." And that's where LA Knight has decided, you know what? Like, if you want to get involved, Ted DiBiase will get you involved. So it's cool to have, to see Ted kind of be a mentor for Cameron Grimes. But I am picking Cameron Grimes, and that is my 4-pointer. Moving on to what I think will be the most entertaining match of the night, and probably, if we're not lying to ourselves, the match of the weekend. Walter defending the NXT UK heavyweight title against Ilya Dragunov. Dragunov
good.
put on a hell of a show against Roddy Strong on NXT this week.
Man, Ilya Dragunov is an untapped resource. Dragunov Walter 1 was phenomenal.
Yep.
God damn,
And
it was so good.
I think they got lucky that there was like an injury between the two of them, or COVID or something, where Ilya Dragunov versus Walter 2 had to be postponed and then moved at the takeover. I think that was a stroke of brilliance on their part.
Yup.
Yeah, man, I'm all in, and I mean, fucking Ilya Dragunov's theme song is "Comrades of the Red Army."
Yep.
The fucking Soviet Union march, and he still gets cheered like crazy by all 30 people in the Capitol Wrestling Center. Let me just tell you right now, real quick, it grinds my fucking gears that this is not taking place in Vegas. They could have used the fucking UFC facility. They have countless other venues in Vegas. There is no reason that this should not be taking place in the same town as SummerSlam, as has been the tradition. I'm very upset that it's not. And I think that this is a card worthy of a 20,000 crowd. Unlike SummerSlam, which will probably draw like 60,000. I'm really kind of peeved that they're sticking by this whole Capitol Wrestling Center thing, at least for the fucking takeovers. All that notwithstanding, Walter versus Ilya Dragunov for the NXT UK title. Tom, finish us off.
Dragunov, whatever obviously whatever points I have left.
2 points.
We'll do that then.
I am picking Walter for 2 points.
I was pissed because after I said O'Reilly for 5, I went, fuck, I was saving my 5 for Dragunov. So I'm going to have to put 1 on Dragunov because, it just... Walter's had that title, now arguably because of COVID. He's had that title for fucking ages and ages and ages and ages.
Yeah.
And not that Walter can't handle that, but I feel like it's time for Walter to do other things. And Dragunov, I think, would be awesome to be the David to topple that Goliath. He's so good. He has such charisma. It's ridiculous. It's like I'm not trying to have puffery or anything. It gives me goosebumps. It legit gives me goosebumps. And it really started with Dragunov Walter 1 because I went into that going, oh my god, Walter's gonna just crush Dragunov. And when he came out and he has the contacts in and he's just wild-eyed and madman, I went, damn. I was like, this is gonna be awesome, and it was. So I'm putting that 1 point, all of that 1 point on Dragunov.
And this is, I guess, more beef hope than anything, because I think that the NXT UK title is the only thing anchoring Walter to NXT UK. Now that Imperium is in NXT proper, Walter's not going to come to the States. Walter is not going to be a guy who relocates. He's made that known from the beginning. He's made it known that he is not going to be a guy that wants to stick around in the United States because his home is in Austria. He does a lot of work overseas. He does WXW over there, amongst other things. So, I worry that if you take this belt off of Walter, he's gone. He's out of the NXT zeitgeist. That's it.
But here's something you're not thinking about though. Reportedly with the changes that are coming to NXT, whether we like them or not, they're going back to doing taping schedules or whatever. So Walter wouldn't necessarily have to move to the States. He could come in for, a taping or something like that, do whatever he's got to do and go back. I mean,
that's a fair point.
So there is that. But again, I think it's just I think it's Dragunov's time, and Walter, again, deservedly so. I mean, he's been a force to be reckoned with in NXT UK for how long now, and he's put on amazing matches, and he's shown that he can go, with the likes of Tyler Bate and stuff like that. I mean, Walter can go. He's not just a big lumbering dude that can only go for 5 or 10 minutes. like some other guys that we know that can't go 5 minutes that are on the SummerSlam card, who shall not be named properly, but I digress.
I just want to throw...
His name rhymes with Goldberg. Oh, damn it, I fucked it up.
Now the picks are out of the way.
Yeah.
I want to throw this out there. Sting wrestled his first televised TNT match on Wednesday night. About a 10-15 minute effort against the 2.0. And it wasn't just your standard tag team match where he got to hang out on the outside of the apron. This was a street fight. This was no rules Texas Tornado, where they got to go out into the crowd. Sting was involved the entire time. Sting was taking bumps. He put on a clinic. For being as old as he is, and I think he's like 62 or something. I think he's like AARP old.
It doesn't fucking show. It's scary.
No,
it's
man.
Scary.
And like he's still performing at a high level. I don't understand how WWE, yeah, he's 62, says, you know what, Sting, we don't have a place for you. And I get that there was a very big injury scare and that they, probably got gun shy because Chris Benoit. And they're like, you know what? We're not going to have another Benoit. If you want to wrestle, go do it somewhere else. But I don't understand the mentality of cutting Sting loose and then bringing back Goldberg. Goldberg, who is 8 years younger at 54, will have a much less impressive match on a huge scale at SummerSlam. Again, touted as the biggest show of the year. Excuse me. Goldberg is going to have a very Goldberg-style match. Win or lose, he's going to be out there for 5 minutes. His entrance is probably going to take longer than the fucking actual match. And a spider update, by the way. My wife took care of the spider. Everything is fine. My hero.
Well, there goes my hero, killing all the bugs.
What? Wait, did he finally kill the spider? I missed it.
No, Brittany did.
Brittany did.
took care of
Oh, way to go, Brittany. You should be killing spiders for her on her damn birthday. What the hell are you doing, Beef?
it. Yesterday was her birthday, too.
Was it yesterday? Oh,
Yeah.
goddamn. Well, my days blend together. I apologize.
No, she's the resident spider killer. That's what she does because I don't like him. I don't like him. I'm like Poot. I'm a little bit of an arachnophobiac. But getting back to other things that bug me, i.e. Goldberg. It's just like I don't know, man. Like Sting has been a proven draw for his whole career. Goldberg has not. Goldberg's a failed NFL player who had the benefit of amazing booking. I just, I don't know, man.
I don't think any of us know. Well, I mean, somebody does. His name is Vince McMahon. He's laughing all the way to the bank, the bastard.
Ruining everything. So, Poot, before you clocked in here, I was just kind of bringing it up to Tom, and I'd like to get your take on it too.
Uh-huh.
Now that MJF and Jericho have seemingly had their blow-off match with the right guy winning, what happens next for MJF and Jericho? Where do you see them on the all-out card, if at all? Like, maybe that was their all-out match, and maybe they just get to put their feet up for the rest of the event. What do you think?
Oh, man. Where does MJF... See, Jericho, it's... To me, the Jericho thing is less of a difficulty because... The Jericho thing's less of a difficulty because Jericho can literally go anywhere. He can come out, cut a promo about how he did his best. He fought through all those, and then he hit MJF and through a series. The best part is, with all the fuckery that happened at the end of that match, because both of them tried to cheat and Jericho tried to use the Judas effect, it like basically balanced the scales to where MJF, it's like, hey, he won legitimately, things cancel out. You know, he tried to use the ring, he got caught. Jericho used Floyd, and he went for the Judas effect and stopped and went, wait, I can't do that. And MJF took advantage. You know, you can't fault MJF. Like, he technically, if you look at it objectively, he was the face in that situation. I mean,
I loved the story because Aubrey, I think it was Aubrey at the
Aubrey. Oh, and he raised his hand to her.
That was great. Like he did that, and Brittany goes, "Oh,
yeah." Everyone in the crowd did. That was the best part.
Her back was turned. Jericho had the shot to hit the Judas effect, but he said, "You know what? I'm a man of principle. I'm a man of my word. Even though the ref's not going to see it, I'm not going to do it." That to me is a big deal. Smart fucking move.
See, the way that I read the room on that one was that Jericho went to do it and he went, "Oh shit, I can't do that," and he didn't know Aubrey wasn't watching. You know what I mean?
That's fair.
That's how I read it. Was he just went, "Crap, I can't do that," and I can't, you know, because Aubrey will see me, etc. ad nauseum, and then MJF took advantage of that. Like, to me, like, that wasn't Jericho being like, "No, I'm a man of honor." It was him going, "Shit, I want to win." You know what I mean? Like, so that's how I read it. But that my point still stands that Jericho can go out there and talk about how he lost and blah, 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 blah. And then random heel can come out and just, you know, start something else with him, whoever it may be. And Jericho will make them a star. Like, he'll go on to help make the next person a bigger star. And that's not trying to belittle Jericho's position or what he does. That's just kind of the reality of the situation. Now, for MJF, on the other hand, he's completely freed up now for an incoming CM Punk. Punk is the... they both have the bravado and the braggadocious, you know, kind of vibe to them. However, but the way that they view the world and the way that they look and the way they present themselves are diametrically opposed. Like, it's perfect. Punk MJF. It's perfect. It writes itself. Or even I like that. To me, that's kind of the, like, that's where it should go. If now, again, that's predicated on the fact that Punk comes in and actually does do things, right? But
I was telling Tom that, like, Moxley's promo last night, even though he was talking about 2.0 and Daniel Garcia, and even though he referenced Miro and Christian and all these other people coming from WWE, to me, that was a very thinly but smartly placed promo at CM Punk. And then you look at the Rampage call sheet for tomorrow, Moxley and Kingston are main eventing against 2.0 with Daniel Garcia. I really believe that Moxley's going to be Punk's first opponent. Interestingly enough, according to Bet Online, the odds for CM Punk's first opponent are Darby Allin at minus 200, Bryan Danielson at 275, plus 275, Christian Cage at 375, Orange Cassidy at 600, Matt Hardy at 700, Jericho at 8, Cody at 800, Jungle Boy at 900, Sting at 1,000. I find it interesting, A, that Moxley doesn't make that list, and B, that Darby is the assumed opponent. Now, I know that Darby was the one that initially dropped the, you know, if you're the best in the world, show up. But man. And originally, so again, I'm going by what I saw reported. Originally, they wanted Moxley versus Hiroshi Tanahashi, excuse me, the newly crowned U.S. champion for New Japan.
Oh wait, when did he beat Archer?
On New Japan Resurgence, which also was a New Japan Strong show here in the U.S. It took place right outside of L.A. Memorial Coliseum. the place where the Rams are playing the last couple of years. But really cool backdrop. But and that also brought back Will Ospreay officially, claiming to be the real world champion, which I absolutely fucking love.
Okay, so he's back from injury.
Yes, and he's claiming that he's still the world champion. Oh,
wait,
yeah, well,
how long ago did he get injured? Because I thought that was
earlier this year.
Yeah, it was like
he won the title at not Wrestle Kingdom, because Ibushi won at Wrestle Kingdom.
It was
but not long after.
Yeah,
because Ibushi got hurt, and Ospreay stepped up, and it was Ospreay versus Shingo for the title, and Ospreay won, and then Ospreay got hurt, and then Shingo won the title. And now I think Shingo has COVID. So that new NJPW title is cursed. I'm telling you. But
cursed.
I would love to see Ospreay drop into All Out for Moxley's opponent. I think that would be an incredible match. And it would make sense with Moxley's NJPW tie-ins. And again, going back to the Punk thing, and I know that this has been a very Punk-heavy show, but I mean, come on.
Yeah.
I've read reports that basically the Warner Media execs, the TNT execs, are like 100 convinced that this is happening, and they're ready to put their marketing power behind him 100%. I think he shows up tomorrow night. I think he gets an opponent for All Out. I don't know who it's going to be, but I think that he's going to be immediately into the fire with somebody. I am, however, a little disappointed with AEW's match booking decisions for their biggest show of the year. Now, I've kind of backed off it a little bit because my thinking may be a little bit warped on it. But me, an intellectual, thinking, okay, All Out is their biggest show of the year. It's their flagship show. It's the one where they were born. It's the one where they crowned the world champion for the first time. Like, this is their WrestleMania. You have Christian, a WWE convert, competing against Kenny Omega. Potentially, Matt Hardy facing Orange Cassidy. Now, they are facing off next week, so that may change. Andrade, a WWE guy, a recent cast-off, against Pac. Miro, probably defending the TV title, another WWE guy. And then announced on Dynamite, Paul White will have his first in-ring debut for AEW at All Out against QT Marshall.
That's why?
I love Paul White, and I think that there's 100% a place for him in AEW. I think that he's a great announcer, and I think that him being a spot filler in some feuds is okay. I am not behind him getting a spot on All Out. I want to say that I've made peace with Christian being the number one contender because of what happened with Hangman, or what's happening with Hangman being, off with his wife for their impending birth of their child. So like even though I think that there are a million better people than Christian on that roster that deserve this spot, after seeing Christian versus Omega at Rampage last week, after hearing how divided the crowd was, and after feeling the electricity of having that like fun divided crowd, I think it'll be a good match. Which at the end of the day, and here's kind of why I backed off of it a little bit. At the end of the day, if they put together a great card that has great matches, I need to do the same thing with AEW that I was talking about doing with WWE, where when the show starts, I disassociate myself from the weekly product. I forget who should be there. I forget who should be booked, and I just enjoy what's in front of me. I think if I look at it from that perspective, I think All Out will be an incredible show. I'm still pissed that Christian is there, but I get it. But the point remains, you have 3 guys who have signed in the last 4 months or so, give or take. Excuse me. Wait. Christian signed at Double or Nothing, right? No, he competed in the Battle Royal at Double or Nothing. So it may have been a little bit before. It may have been Revolution in February. But bottom line, you have 3 guys who have signed in 2021, taking spots from guys that I think should be on the card. Guys like FTR, who haven't been around for a couple of weeks now. You know, guys like potentially the Jurassic Express, Jungle Boy, Orange Cassidy. The list goes on. That's a problem to me. And even though I'm going to buy All Out, and even though I'm going to enjoy All Out and call it the best pay-per-view event of the year, I still have a little bit of a problem with it. What do you guys think?
Tom?
I'm sorry. I'm dealing with a fucking wiry cat that wants to be like up my ass, and I'm afraid is like gonna pull out my headphones at any moment. I completely missed like 90% of what you were just talking about.
Bottom line is WWE expatriates like Christian, Paul White, and Andrade stealing spots from guys who really deserve to be on the All Out card.
In any sense, I'm not a fan of that. I'm not a fan whenever WWE brings in their fucking legends, like you know who. My well-documented hatred of certain legends coming in and, you know, winning titles and shit like that when they are way out of their prime, way out of shape, and fucking by all accounts, if what we hear is to be believed, you know, way disassociated and not even really invested in the product. Like they're just there for a paycheck and see ya later. So I'm not a fan of it in a general sense. Like I caught part of what you were saying earlier. Yeah, there is a spot for Paul White. I just don't necessarily think it's in the ring at All Out. If they want to throw him on a Dark Elevation or something like that, which I understand, correct me if I'm wrong, isn't he the announcer on one of the Darks or Dark Elevation or something?
Mark Henry's on Rampage. I think Big Show is, or Paul White rather, is for is Dark Elevation. Yes, sir.
Okay, so I mean, hell, you know, I mean, like, you know, Jerry the King Lawler fucking got involved every so often. You know, they'd dust them off and dust off the crown and bring him back for a little bit of a feud or something like that. Like you said, you know, a placeholder thing, that's fine. But I don't know. I feel like you could you're missing an opportunity to highlight a younger talent and, you know, really get them a good pop with a good pay-per-view crowd and everything like that. So yeah, not a super huge fan.
What do you think, Putski?
I really don't think that we need to worry as much. I don't think we need to jump on the oh shit, AEW is going to become what they fought against. I don't. I just don't think that that's where we need to go with it. I can understand the fear, and I can understand, you know, it happens. But again, we have to remember, because AEW has been doing so well, they really have. AEW has been doing incredibly well. They have been clever, innovative, fun, different. They really have. But they are still, in the grand scheme of things, in their infancy. I think we can agree on that. They've fleshed out. They're starting to really solidify, but they are still in their infancy. Having these expatriates, as Beef likes to say, which I think is an excellent way of saying it, is, to borrow a term, is best for business right now. It's good because they're still looking to draw the casual fan. Sure, you have people like Pac, Orange Cassidy, that are, Sammy Guevara. We saw these people at All In, and none of us knew who Sammy Guevara is. Like, we might have heard his name, but we didn't know him.
Right.
And the same thing with Orange Cassidy. I knew about Orange Cassidy from YouTube and watching and going, wow, a really good comedy wrestler. This is phenomenal. And he has become a legitimate, like, oh, he's not just a goof. Like, he's just likable. Like, so like, these people are being built, and they're being built on the backs of people that have established careers. Like, we need to not be so crass. Again, it's kind of, we're conditioned by WWE to think, oh, these people who are well-established, well-known, and even in some cases, including Jericho, legends. We need to not have that Pavlovian response of, oh, they're going to just get pushed and all these other guys are going to get put on some bullshit nothing show, or they're going to have nothing but dark matches and then they'll get fired and then they'll have to go back to the indies. We do that because that's what WWE has conditioned us to do, and we need to be mindful of that. In my humble opinion, I think it would be wise to enjoy the ride, see where it's going, and then maybe 3 years down the road, even 2 years, benefit of the doubt, going going, oh, okay, now it's Christian versus Matt Hardy, and Jericho versus whatever, whoever, like, doing that kind of stuff, like, or like Sting versus Jericho for the AEW Heavyweight Championship. Then I think we can start to, get a little saucy about it. But I really don't think there's any concern right now.
So my concern is not AEW becoming WWE. My concern is I've seen two companies try to take shots at WWE, or try to take a run at the King, and do the exact same thing, which is bring in the guys who, I don't want to say couldn't cut the mustard in the other company, but that's kind of what it came down to, or for whatever reason just decided to leave. And I've seen two companies fail. WCW made a run of it, for sure. But at the end of the day, because of the contracts that they gave the ex-WWE guys, it ended up becoming albatross around their neck because of how the booking was. These guys that came from WWE thought they demanded class and servitude and demanded what they wanted in their contract. That became a problem for creative down the line. More recently, we saw Impact make a real strong shot. And then they brought in Hogan. And then they brought in Christian. And then they brought in Angle. And then they brought in Sting. And so on, and so on, and so on. I don't want to see AEW fail where its predecessors had. And I understand that Impact is still going, and going strong. Good for Impact, but it's certainly not where it was 15 years ago. Which is a weird thing to say, but it's not. So that's my concern. Now, I'll agree to a point. I think that some of these WWE guys are best for business. Miro is a guy 1,000,000% that WWE absolutely missed the fucking boat on. The crowd said, here's our money. And WWE said, we're good, fam. Have some John Cena. Have some Roman Reigns. Andrade, another guy, absolute money. And WWE's like, how about we put you in a tag team with this other Spanish guy? Because you're Spanish, because you're both Mexican, that'll be the gimmick. Like, so there are some of them that I see value in. I struggle real hard with Christian. And again, all cards on the table. He and Omega had a very entertaining match at Rampage last week. Like, one of the best matches I've seen in person, if not the best match I've seen in person. They had an incredible match. Absolutely off the charts. So I'm expecting the same at All Out, that it's going to be absolutely entertaining. But really, this all kind of bends around Paul White. And it may be a pre-show match. I'm hoping it's a pre-show match. But I just don't like that idea that, like, he shows up. He's an announcer. He's like a breaking news correspondent. Because remember, he was on the Brook News about Christian. He shows up and he's like, here's my role in AEW. And that's what he does for 6 months. And then all of a sudden, fucking Payday rolls around, the biggest show of the year rolls around, and he's like, oh, hey, I want a match.
But again, you're treating this like WWE. You're kind of treating it that way. And dude, even if it is a show where Paul White says, I want to get in the ring, and they give him the go ahead, the doctors give him the go ahead, and they take him out there and he does his thing and people pop for it and then they let it go. Who cares? Like, it's a cheap pop. It's a cheap thing. And I think that AEW and the powers that be in AEW are smart enough not to beat a dead horse like that, especially if it's like Paul White and then having him just be on the roster gigging. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And I mean, again, full disclosure, I'm going to buy All Out. I'm going to set out with the same expectation and idea that I have for SummerSlam and now for TakeOver, which is I'm going to completely dissociate myself with all the other bullshit. Sit down and watch a wrestling show from start to finish with the goal of enjoying it. So I think the All Out card is in some major flux right now. I think that they wanted to do Hangman versus Kenny Omega. I think that they wanted to do Moxley versus Tanahashi. I think that these are things that they kind of like had penciled in and even started writing in pen up until about July, where they're like, fuck, shit may be going wrong. Let's figure something else out. The Hangman thing is almost inexcusable. If I have to fault AEW one thing, it's that you have a bunch of people that apparently can't do math and figure out that Hangman's wife is due about the time of All Out. If you know that, you should immediately assume, well, Paige is probably off the card for All Out. We should definitely not make him like super mega white hot before All Out. We should kind of put that on simmer and then turn up the burner when he comes back. So I think that that's a problem. But,
I just, and this is not beef. You're not wrong. And Tom, I don't know if you have in this. I worry that, you are doing the right thing by going in there and going, okay, I'm going to go in and enjoy a hell of a wrestling show. Right? That's the goal.
Mm-hmm.
That's the goal.
That's the right thing to do. Right.
That's the right thing to do. But I feel like you're already, like, even though you're going in with the best intentions, I really feel like you're going in the back of your mind going, they're going to do something I'm going to hate. This is going to lead to something I'm going to hate. And you're going to, like, subconsciously look for flaws and faults and not be able to enjoy it.
To be fair, and I was telling to be fair, that's way off. It was way off. I won't
even participate in that, to be fair.
I was telling Tom earlier, like that's kind of been my thing with WWE since the pandemic started, and it's really helped me enjoy the pay-per-view product. Like as a quote unquote pundit on a weekly syndicated podcast, as a talking head, like yeah, we need to gripe about WWE, but honestly, pay-per-view performance. The pay-per-views special events, whatever you want to call them, that I've seen this year have been entertaining. I have been sports entertained by most of what WWE has put out there on pay-per-view alone. So I do a pretty good job of disassociating all of that. And, again, I'm going to get all out, and I'll probably call all out the show of the year. I'm probably calling it right now because I know CM Punk's going to have a match. I know that we're going to be waiting to see Adam Cole. I know that we're going to be waiting to see Brian Danielson.
Daniel, fuck.
And,
never heard of him.
And I know I'll be thinking ahead. So I'm going to enjoy All Out. I just want to, because we're so quick to point out every single flaw that WWE has. I think it's fair that we talk about a problem that is arising right now in AEW. It may not lead to shit. You're 100% correct. It may just be like, them saying, hey, we have a good amount of big brand talent. Guys that came from, if you're, and this is not a perfect metaphor, but bear with me. If you're the Canadian Football League and you have a guy that comes from the NFL, you're going to promote the hell out of them. Even if it's fucking Johnny Football, who is just a terrible dirtbag of a person. Even if it's Johnny Manziel, you're still going to say, hey, look, we got this guy. And especially now, again, with the impending arrival of CM Punk tomorrow night, which, again, I think is a foregone conclusion. You want this to be a card that people will look at and go, oh, I remember him from such. I remember this guy from this and this guy. I get the mentality. I'm just worried. I'm hoping that that's the only master it's serving, is to get a big buy rate and that they're not trying to infuse these guys. And that's my concern. That's it. I'm done.
I really don't think they are, dude. Like I really I think it's WWE PTSD. I do. Like I don't. They're having them in the ecosystem, but they're not misusing them. Like Christian, I think, like for example, and you could point at Christian and say, aha. However, Christian is in the best shape of his life. Mm-hmm. He's working really well. He's not going in there and demanding to be brutal. He in my opinion, he fits. He fits in there with them. And to me, saying these Oso-rans of WWE coming in, you know what I mean? Like people who are past their prime or whatever. Guys like Sting, they're proving they can still go and be entertaining and put these guys over. Christian, he's proving that he can still go in there, be a contender, feel legitimate and make it interesting. Paul White, different story. I don't think that this is going to be a thing. And besides, no offense to the factory, but this is like a tertiary thing. Like it's not like it's in the main event scene. When you bring in someone like CM Punk or Bryan Danielson, people are not going to go, oh, it's former WWE guys. Look, they're pushing all these WWE guys. They're not going to do that. They're going to go, holy shit, it's CM Punk, because CM Punk is going to get to be CM Punk from the indies. He's not going to be WWE CM Punk. Bryan Danielson is going to be the American Dragon. He's not going to be WWE Daniel Bryan. Like, that's the thing, is like, you're not it's the same thing. John Moxley is proof positive of that. I don't look at him and think Dean Ambrose anymore. At all.
Yeah, I don't either. I haven't thought of him that way for a while.
So that's my point, is that you, instead of looking at it and going, oh fuck, like you need to look at it and go, wow, they're using these guys appropriately. Like, that's the thing. Yeah, like, you don't look at the guys that are going to be Malachi Black. Honestly. And I understand he's had one match, but the stuff he's doing, yeah, it's samey to WWE, what Aleister Black was doing. But Malachi Black, he's doing something innovative where he's carrying over a storyline from another company into that company. And it's not like, you know, just using the same moves or whatever. It's a story, like the eyeball thing. And like, I don't, like, I watch the intro, I listen to the music, I see the imagery, and I don't see Aleister Black. I see Tommy End. And me, that, and understandably, yeah, Malachi Black, okay. Like, I see Tommy End. Like, I see an independent wrestler who is getting his shot at finally being able to put his talents, vision, and creativity on a grand stage. So I think your fears are unfounded, because even if you look at the guys who are legends that are in there, what are they doing with them? They're putting them in managerial roles, they're inserting them in storylines, but they're not making them they're giving, it's adding an air of legitimacy, and it's adding a factor that is you know, like, oh, these guys who built the damn business are backing these younger guys. Like Tom, and I'm not just looking for someone to agree with me, but you know, Tom, what do you think?
Well, I mean, it's like you said, I'm not I'm not worried about AEW becoming WWE, like Beef said, and I agree with you that they are taking some guys, like, you know, like looking at like Jake the Snake or whatever, and having him come in and be, you know, a mouthpiece, stuff like that, and putting them in managerial roles, things like that. That's good. I think it's just, I don't know. Again, like, I'm not worried that, you know, because they're putting Paul White on the card at All Out, you know, him having a match against whoever is going to lead to, oh my God, they're going to push Paul White and he's going to be the next TNT champion, or they're going to, you know, put him against Kenny Omega or something like that. Like, I'm not concerned about that. But it does, you know, just a little bit of like, well, hey, why couldn't we have like two younger talents who aren't necessarily showcased all the time on, you know, on the weekly Dynamite, who maybe are just getting their break on Dark or something. Fuck it, even if that's the pre-show match, why not give it to those guys? Let them go out and, you know, fucking
Dante Martin's a perfect example. Dante Martin showed out last week at Dynamite in the 6-man tag team match against Omega and the Young Bucks. To me, Paul White versus QT Marshall is a spot that could have been Dante Martin.
Well, okay,
why did you put such emphasis on it that way? Marshall.
That's how they're that's how he's pronouncing it now. QT Marshall.
No, but again, I feel like that's
hashtag reasons.
I feel like that's just being a little bit crass. Like my thing is, yeah, did he show out? Does he deserve a better spot? Does he deserve this thing? Hell yeah, he does. Absolutely, he does. 100%. He'll get there. That's the thing. You can't push everyone to the moon all the time. Let me pose it to you this way. Let's walk into my world a little bit. If you go to see a band at a bar, and it's a band that for 4 hours plays nothing but original tunes, what's going to happen? A band you've never heard of. What's going to happen?
I'm going to be disinterested.
You're going to be disinterested. Now, if said band had 4 hours of music where 70% of it was covers and they peppered in their originals, would you be a little more interested?
Sure would.
There you go. That's my point. That right there is what I'm saying. Is you have 70%. Yeah, there are some guys that you've heard of, like there's FTR, there's, you know, this, that, and the other thing. But the debut of the Butcher and the Blade. Do you remember the debut of Butcher, Blade, and the Bunny? You remember that?
I do.
They came out. The announcers were making this big on the feed. The announcers were making this big stink about the Butcher, the Blade. That's the Butcher and the Blade. That's this. The crowd was like, "Who are you?" But now people love the Butcher and the Blade. You know, like. And then of course there were people like me who went like, oh my God, it's Andy Williams from Every Time I Die. Like, that's the thing, is that like if you have an entire show of that, it's not gonna you can't build it, or it's more, if you do a whole show of that, it's like it's Sisyphus pushing a rock up a hill. But if you pepper in stuff that people know, not only will more people be willing to show up, more people, once they show up, will be interested, and they'll be more receptive to the things they don't know. Hell, how many people probably went into that and were like, who's this Orange Cassidy guy? Who cares? And they saw him do his thing, and they immediately were hooked. They never would have known about him. Maybe they never would have watched AEW if it wasn't for one of their favorite wrestlers from days gone by. You know what I mean? Like, that's my point. It's like, it's understandable to have these fears, but like, to me, it's just kind of like, I don't think it's warranted.
I get your point, and I agree with you to an extent. My only counter argument on Beef's behalf would be, do we feel like that AEW is still so much in its infancy that it needs that it does not have established enough people yet?
In the bigger wrestling zeitgeist, no.
Okay.
Well,
right.
So Poot, if this were a collar elbow tie-up, I would be tapping out, because you have elated a lot of what I was concerned about, and you're 100% right. You're making a wonderful point. And the more I think about it, again,
hey,
it's
just free real estate, baby. Like, no big deal.
they got a lot of stuff going on, and with CM Punk coming in, which, let's not bury the headline, that's one of the biggest free agent signings of all time.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Even though he's been out of the business for 5 years, there are ride or dies with Punk. I'm raising my hand. I am a Punk ride or die.
I was about to say, Beef's one of them.
So, at the end of the day, I think that they have a big excuse me. I think that they have a big opportunity with All Out to make it the most purchased AEW pay-per-view in history.
For sure.
And I think that the intelligent way to do it is exactly what Poot's saying. Put faces on there that are going to elicit someone going,
Many.
oh, hey, look at that guy. Oh, hey, it's the Big Show. Oh, hey, it's Rusev. Oh, hey, it's, Andrade. I get it. So I will concede that for this moment in time, I think that this is an okay move, and it's probably a good money move. We'll see when the buy rates come out.
Yeah.
We'll see. Now, not trying to push things along, but we are, even for me, looking at my recording that I started whenever I popped in here, we're getting kind of long in the tooth, boys.
We are, in fact.
Yeah. Do you guys have anything else you want to talk about, or do we have any trivia or anything before we hit the road ski?
We do have a Stump the Chumps. Do we want to save that for when Ransom's back next week, or do we want to try and...
Dude, absolutely. Absolutely.
Okay. Well, then we'll tuck that in. The bastard. You can concentrate more on getting your picks this week.
There you go.
We hope to hear from the other guys as well. Dave, only one set of picks this month, buddy, and maybe you'll get it.
Did we read Ransom's picks, or is he doing something separate?
He's doing something separate.
Yeah.
Yep. So we don't even know where the Mad King falls this month. So we'll see. But yeah, make sure you get your picks in by Saturday, I guess, is the day of the card. So
Noon.
100% Saturday by noon.
Yep.
Picks must be up by Saturday at noon. I will post them tonight as soon as we're done here. So get them in.
And since you weren't here at the beginning, Poot, when you go back to listen and get Ransom's intro, a good portion of the beginning before we got into the AEW talk was just kind of recounting, one another's appreciation for the podcast itself. You in particular for kind of being the brainchild behind it. Is there anything that you wanted to say in regards to the journey that we've had now, getting to 100 episodes?
Yeah.
Yeah, go for it. The floor is yours, my good sir.
Well, and I'm not gonna go long here because, like I said, it's gonna be kind of a long weekend for old Puterino. But yes, I mean, I remember the prototype episode, which I believe is up here on YouTube now. If not, it's on our it's on Facebook.
Does that make us the John Cena episode now?
The prototype episode where it was just Beef and I yakking. We did a live stream on Facebook, like, and just seeing like the stuff that's kind of done. Like, I mean, everybody and their brother has a podcast nowadays. So like trying to make it like something that it's like, oh guys, this is something we could take a run at. This is something this is something that. Like, it's more just like, it's something during the week that is like something to look forward to. Like we have multi-game Monday, and then, we play Among Us on Tuesday, and then one of the days I have Hellbent practice, and then then Thursdays is podcast day. Like, it's just kind of like, those are like kind of constants. Like before, and I know I talk about banking a lot, but like it's like I think about when we started this podcast and like how like how me personally, like how bad of a place I was in, like emotionally and mentally and like everything, and to where I am now. Like it kind of blows my mind that like we have 100 episodes of us yakking like a bunch of dum-dums about a fictional fictional matches that are pre-planned where people fight for a cummerbund. That's for all my Brooklyn Nine-Nine fans out there. Like, it's just really cool. And like the neat thing is there's always something new to talk about. Very rarely do we ever have, we come into a podcast and go, what do we talk about? Oh, nothing really happened. And if there is nothing that happened, we
break kayfabe.
Yeah, we break kayfabe. And that's the other thing. Breaking kayfabe was like founded upon the fact that we were like, oh, let's just talk about random stuff. Like, and because we needed that.
I talked about, this really being your brainchild. Like, yes, it was you and I together, the first one, but like you were the one that kind of put the seeds in place, years before that. And that breaking kayfabe is kind of what we envisioned for the whole thing anyway.
Oh, yeah.
Not just a wrestling. And I'm not trying to say, well, we should go out, but we wanted to go wrestling, yeah, but also, video games and music and sports and kind of be the buffet, as I put earlier, the buffet of the nerd world. But yeah, I mean, because that's why I love doing the breaking kayfabe with you guys, because that's kind of like the original thought behind it.
Yeah,
so.
And then like the couple that we've done where we've done breaking kayfabe Among Us is like there's other things we could do where we could do like
this is
well there's and then even like having the idea of collar elbow tie up. I understand there haven't been a lot of them, but like I really enjoy those because it kind of, it's fun to argue points, especially when you're on the side of something you don't believe. Like that's it's I know it sounds like basically saying Poot likes debate club. Well, kinda. Like, I mean, like I like that challenge.
The first rule of debate club is you don't talk about debate club.
Or do you? Let's have a debate.
I see what you did there.
So, but like no, and that's the thing is that like I remember so many times Beef's right that I looked at him and said we should do a wrestling podcast, dude. And it was before like we went. Ransom was like, I don't know if time. And it was before we knew Tom. Like, I just kept kind of bringing it up, hoping that it would happen. And then with the advent of Discord and the advent of, like, all the different, like, editing programs and technology coming forward, it's like, well, why the hell don't we do it? Let's give it a try. And, the people that we've met along the way and the characters, the rogues gallery that we've kind of built, is a lot of fun, and I hope that people kind of catch on to it. And like Tom nailed that one interview that we had there, the behind the curtain interview, which I'm hoping that we can do more of those.
I'm actually hoping. I'm actually not to cut you off. I'm hoping to actually do one in the near future with one of my coworkers who has done some refereeing for some independent wrestling.
Oh, sweet. And
yeah, that's literally that's how it's kind of funny how I myself personally, but I'll say we, the collective we in general, have fallen into friendships, or how we as people do that. Like I was Facebook acquaintances with you and Beef, basically through Ransom.
Oh yeah.
And I knew that we all, I knew that we all liked wrestling because there were different things that, he would tag all three of us in. I'm like, oh, okay, cool. They like wrestling too. And that's all it was for, for, I don't know, probably a good couple of years or whatever. And then the first time I actually got to meet you guys in person, I can't tell you guys enough how much I value your guys' friendship and how just instantaneous I felt personally that the friendships were like no offense to Beef or Ransom, but Poot, I felt I clicked with you immediately, and I was like, I really like this guy.
Oh,
like
thanks,
I mean,
man.
I was already friends with Ransom for a long time, so we have that history. But
Yeah, thanks, man.
No, hold on. Of everybody, because there's always somebody that you're a little closer to. It's just human nature. But I felt like, Poot, I really clicked with you like right off the bat. So I was like, and then with Beef, I value your friendship too, and I look forward to growing that even more. And hopefully now the fact that I'm in closer proximity, we don't necessarily have to wait for, SummerSlam or other wrestling events to get together. You're more than welcome to come over to the Tiger Jungle here anytime you want, man. So,
well, and
just throwing that out there. But I literally, my coworker, somebody told me, some other person told me about how there was a guy that that did some refereeing for independent wrestling shows, and they were talking, and I had talked to that person, to this third person about my streaming and our podcast and stuff. They mentioned it to him, and he's like, oh, I'd really like to talk to him. So I sought him out the one day based off of the description the person gave me, and I said, are you the guy that does the refereeing? And he's like, are you the guy that does the podcast? I was like, I sure am. And it was just like one of those, did we just become best friends? Yep. You want to go do karate in the garage? Yep. Like, it was just one of those moments. So I'm looking forward to setting something up with him in the near future.
Yeah, and I'm hoping that there are two people that I really hope that I could line up. One of them is and this is the one that I actually need to message him, because we started the seeds of it and then just life kind of got in the way. My buddy Ethan, who's on the Hookah Chats podcast with my bandmate Matt. Ethan is a longtime wrestling fan, and he is awesome. He's hilarious, and he has a lot of really good insight into wrestling, and I'd really like to get him on. I actually I wanted to get him on the podcast, but we kind of have this rule of you have to beat us on Stump the Chumps to get on the podcast proper. But I'd like to have him on here one day, hopefully, and maybe even do an interview with him. But the other one that I actually need to shoot him a message. I feel bad I haven't talked to him in a while. Was the legend, the absolute legend, Mr. Bill Apter. I know I mentioned before, and I mentioned a couple months ago, you need to check out his book, Is Wrestling Fixed? I Didn't Know It Was Broken. It's so good. And I'm hoping I can talk to Bill, and then even Bill's son, Brandon. We're really good friends, and Brandon has so many cool stories of him growing up around the business that he would be really fun to have on here too. You know what I mean? And but my point with this is, and I will stop being long in the tooth. We will burrito it here because I got to get this edited.
Man.
One of the you mentioned about clicking with people, and I said, dude, you stop and think about this. I'm doing a podcast about something that I really enjoy, with someone that I've been friends for 30 years with. Like I've known Beef legit for 30 years. Or not 30, 20. Man, math is hard. I'm a banker.
Okay, buddy.
No, like for like 20, legit 20 years. Like I've known Beef.
Right.
Beef's like one of my longest time friends. I think the only other person that is kind of in that world is our buddy Sean. Like who you've met whenever we've gotten together and watched events. With S-Dub. S-Dub.
F-Stub. Okay.
S-Dub.
Yeah.
Like I've known Sean since we were actually legit for 30 years. Like you know, so it's Sean and then Beef. Like that's you know, Sean, Beef, and our buddy Jay. Like that's pretty much it, dude. Like, you know, and so like to get to do that and still have a friendship that's like, you know, that standing is, and we haven't murdered each other is incredible. We've come close, or rather I've come close to murdering Beef, but
there have been times.
Oh yeah.
What WrestleMania was it where like the main event pissed me off so bad?
Oh, and you were like, get out.
Then I was just like, yep, leave. Like you were the last one here, and I'm like, all right, leave. I'm done. Because you were trying to talk me off a ledge or something, and I was like, nope, not doing it tonight. Get out. We're done here.
Yeah. And I was like, okay, dude. And like I started packing up my shit, and he just sat there staring at the turned off TV. And I was like, all right, man, I'm gonna get going. And you were like, yep, bye. And I was like, okay.
We hugged it out, and everything was fine.
Yeah, it was
but you
fine.
know,
Yeah.
this is fun up and down and memories. You know?
Man. But like, I'm excited to see where things go after the grand episode 100. I'm sorry I couldn't be here earlier. Like I said, just band stuff. We're booked all the way through November. Like,
oh, nice.
Yeah, not like every weekend, but we have gigs through November, and we're already like, we already have places now, pending the world, that we already are like planning gigs into next year. Like,
nice.
Like we're doing great. We're doing really well. Like, and that's fun, but it also lends to having to divide my time. You know what I mean? Yeah. But
I know what you mean, because as soon as we wrap this up, I'm setting up to do a quick little retro stream for the league for a little summer challenge thing that we have going on, which I'm going to absolutely blow chunks at because it's Sonic 3 and I haven't played that forever.
Sonic 3, dude, it's muscle memory. You'll get it. It's fine.
I'm Sonic 2. I can run through like no problem. Sonic 1, okay. Sonic 3 is the worst for me, like because I don't know that one for shit.
Yeah,
so.
But to be fair, Sonic 1 plays like a brick compared to the other two.
True. That is true.
But anyway,
Sonic 2 is still the best.
On that note, for all you people who have listened to us, if I may, gentlemen, for all you folks who have listened to us at any point over the past 100 episodes, we appreciate you. And tell your friends, tell your mom, tell your dad, tell people in North Carolina to listen to the P3 podcast. You can find us on Facebook. Again, that's Pittsburgh Piledriver Podcast. You can find us on YouTube, P3 Podcast. Actually, not P3 Podcast. There is another, and there can be only one. Search for Pittsburgh Piledriver Podcast. You can find us on Instagram as well. Again, Pittsburgh Piledriver Podcast. And make sure you just follow, subscribe, do all the things, and also make sure that you send in your questions for Stump the Chumps in there. That's to Pittsburgh Piledriver Podcast at gmail.com. Send in one with the question and the other one with the answer, and make sure you put in some sentences or some spaces just so that Beef doesn't see the answer, so that we have the full power of the P3 on that Stump the Chumps. Also want to tell you to participate and try and win the P3 belt. Try and win that thing. All you got to do is get your picks in Saturday at noon before any of the events. And if you do, we'll check our Facebook. We'll make sure that you're in the running, and we'll have the totals throughout the month. And at the end of the month, we will crown a champion, unless you try and pull some shenanigans. Looking at you, maybe Bob Gray. So make sure you do that. Participate. It'll be a lot of fun. Also, subscribe to Frig Off Ransom. He's one of our sponsors for the podcast, and his wonderful channel, Frig Off Ransom. Absolutely hilarious and very creative and very talented, that boy. He's a sweet boy. Also, make sure you go on over, of course, to Facebook and follow Casual Gaming Dad. That's our very own Tiger.
Uppercut.
Tom. That's his page, Casual Gaming Dad. He does a lot of fun streams like we talked about before. We do Among Us on Tuesday, and by we, I mean he, and he just welcomes us in. So make sure you come, and you can also join in the fun if you have Among Us. It's free on mobile, and you just got to get Discord, join the Discord, and it's a good time. And he's also very fun and entertaining. He also has a lot of really cool merch over on Gould Gaming. That's gouldgaming.com. Search on Casual Gaming Dad. Buy tons of great merch. It's very high quality and very, very awesome. You can also get your very own P3 t-shirt, and it will not cost you $49.99, you idiots. It just won't do it. So you just go over there and you buy all the things, and then you watch Casual Gaming Dad. You listen to the P3 podcast, you subscribe, and it'll be wonderful. Also, we want to thank Mr. Sean Tischler for his work with independent wrestling in Central Pennsylvania. So thank you all very much. And why not, while you're at it, subscribe to the dead channel, Poot the Bard, because Poot the Bard has not had time to do any kind of creative things with his channel, and he misses it very much. And also, make sure you watch out for Beef Raw. That's a new series that we have going on here on the P3 YouTube. It's Beef Raw, and Beef lends his he wrings out his brain and all of his wrestling knowledge and reviews some news and stuff during the week. Guys, did I cover pretty much everything?
I think you did. One note on Among Us. I believe it's actually going to be coming to the PS4 and on the Xbox in the very near future. But regardless, it is completely cross-platform, so we would love to have you guys out on a Tuesday night for Among Us on my Discord over on the Casual Gaming Dad Discord. If you need the link for that, go to my YouTube channel. You can find the links for everything that you need for that, the merchandise and more in the video YouTube video description. And then, you know, also join us if we do a Breaking Kayfabe Among Us episode, because those are always just a blast. And I couldn't do it without you guys, so thank you. Beef, I believe Beef has a moment of zen.
I do. I talked about it a little bit before, but you know, enjoy SummerSlam. Disconnect from the internet. Not literally, or else you won't be able to watch Peacock. But, you know, ignore the dirt sheets. Ignore Raw. Ignore SmackDown. Ignore Karrion Kross. Ignore NXT. Just sit down and enjoy SummerSlam. Enjoy NXT 36, because who knows what the next takeover will bring. And most importantly, gentlemen, it has been confirmed that the King is coming to America in the fall. The absolute crazy madman himself, Minoru Suzuki, is doing a stretch in September for NJPW Strong, which includes a match with Lance Archer, some GCW appearances, and by God, I'm hoping to see Minoru Suzuki at All Out. I don't want to get my hopes up, but man, like, if I can't see Will Ospreay at All Out, I want to see fucking Minoru Suzuki.
That was a good moment of zen. For myself, the Barbarian, Poot the Bard, baby. Mr. Casual Gaming Dad himself, Tiger.
Uppercut.
Bomb Tom. Our litany of our Library of Alexandria of wrestling, Mr. Beef the Legend, and of course, the reigning, defending, undisputed, Chooserweight champion himself, Ransom the Madman. Here's to another 100 episodes. Settle in, bitches.
We don't have a stinger this week. Damn it.
Woo!